Welcome to the Evident Proof demo on Tuesday at 10 a.m. or 10:07 now a.m. UK time. My name is Matt Roden. I am the CTO of Evident. We run demos every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. UK time on a Tuesday and 4 p.m. UK time on a Thursday. The purpose of these demos is just to give you a very brief introduction to the Evident Proof platform, how it's used, how you can interact with the Evident Proof platform to store proof seals in an immutable way. I'll start by talking you through some of the terminology. We keep these demos pretty quick, sort of 10 minutes, no more. And any deep dive questions you have on the technology or any of the workflows involved, please feel free to reach out to myself or Brian McClafferty or Adrian Clark on Telegram, or indeed any of the team that you see online. Okay, so let's get started. This is the Evident Proof dashboard. I'll give you a brief talk through the terminology that we use. So a proof seal is a hash of data stored on the Evident Proof platform. Now, as I'm sure you all know, Evident Proof deals with being able to store data in an immutable way that can't be changed, hacked, and can be verified in a court of law using a proof certificate that we provide. Effectively, we back onto the Ethereum blockchain. So we have a private chain and we use the Ethereum public chain to store data in an immutable fashion. So when you send us data to store, we hash that data into a proof seal. That proof seal, which is in a proprietary format that we call evidence, is then stored on the two blockchains, and essentially later down the line, when you need a proof of this, of the integrity of this data, the immutability, we can issue you with a proof certificate. How do you send data to our platform? Well, it's a service-based platform with an API. So to get started, you would request an account with us, and you can go read the API documentation and generate an API key. And the API key effectively gives you all of the access you need to be able to go and start writing some code against the Evident Proof platform. Evident Proof is designed to be used by individuals and organizations, and can slot into a wide array of line of business workflows, as we've made our data formats, our evidence formats, fairly generic to be able to cover off pretty much any vertical you can think of. If you need help getting started on what proof looks like to your organization, again, reach out to us and we will endeavor to walk you through that process, and we can start a consultancy process with you to start writing an application against Evident. So we'll walk you through an example of how Evident can be used. So we have a real client who is one of the largest providers of taxi licensing software solutions in the UK, and services much of the UK local government facilities when it comes to taxi licensing. And they have a large line of business application with many workflows, and one of those workflows is the generation of a taxi license, which comes with all sorts of checks and balances, be it an identity check, driving license check, criminal record check, and so on and so forth. Why is this so important to this organization? Well, several months ago now, an article came out in the Guardian newspaper in the UK, a fairly major newspaper, saying that 150,000 taxi licenses were issued last year to drivers with criminal convictions, driving bans, you name it, they had it. And of course, now an audit will need to be performed to prove, well, were those checks and balances done at the time they said they were done, in the way they said they were done, in a thorough enough fashion, and how do you prove that the data backing up that audit has not been tampered with? Well, you can't unless you store data in an immutable way. So the sensible thing for this this large organization to do is to store their data on Evident in a way that can be later proved in a court of law using a proof certificate to not have been tampered with. So we've created a trimmed down version of their workflow. Of course, we can't show their entire piece of software, but effectively this is a small application that allows you to go through the license creation process in a simplistic form, and this is integrated on the back end to the Evident system via the API. So when I create a license, that evidence data will be submitted to the Evident system, will be hashed into a seal, stored on the blockchain through our proprietary system of smart contracts, and we'll show how we then request a proof certificate to prove that data in the future, should we need to. So let's go and create a new license. Put the license holder name. Think of one I haven't done before. Tom Doe. There we go. License active. Okay, criminal record check form. So I'm just doing a tick box, but of course in their application that involves a complex workflow of checks and balances, whereby police records are checked and evidence, and there's a document that goes with that, and so on. And of course, all of that data can be stored as a proof point against this license on the Evident proof system. Many seals can be attributed to a particular asset or event or transaction, and all included on one certificate further down the line, so that we can show the full provenance of the thing that we're talking about. So again, driving license number, I'm just typing in a number. Of course, this would include a scan, maybe some kind of record check on a computerized licensing system. Identity check performed. Again, well, we would submit their passport or whatever else. None of the raw data in Evident is stored on the blockchain, only the seal, so that can't be reverse engineered back to the raw data, of course, because it is a hash. So this data remains safe. We have mechanisms within Evident to either send us the data and we will store it, the raw data, on our cloud system, or we can install a microservice on your infrastructure, which means the data actually never goes outside of your infrastructure, only the seal is sent to us. Anyone wishing to explore that workflow further, please do give me a shout on Telegram. No driving offences, great. Okay, so we're going to create this license. And now we should see at the bottom, here's the license, Tom Doe. Great, it's created, number 63. Let's go through to Evident. And we should see on my sort of ring fence demo account that we have a new license. There it is. There's an ID of 63 that relates back to the source record. So now what I'm going to do is just talk you through this data that's been submitted to the Evident system and what it all means, and then we'll go and create our proof certificate, and then that's us done. So what is a dispatch? Well, a dispatch is one or more evidence records being sent to the Evident proof service via an API call. So dispatch is essentially an API call. Dispatch has an ID, aware, which it could be an IP address or geolocation. Here I just have a local representation of an IP address. When timestamp, and this is the timestamp of when it was sent to us. Of course, you can include further timestamps within your data itself. So now we get on to Evidence. So Evidence has a primary service user cross-reference. Sounds complicated, it's not. It's just a tie back to the source record on your system. So we don't restrict what this can be. You set this, so this could be a single key relating to a single record in a database. It could be a compound key. It's something meaningful to your organization. We help you work out what this is as part of our consultation process to onboard new clients onto the system. A key, we have something pretty naughty here, new license. Okay, well, this could be something, again, fairly complex. A value, so you can see this is the options I selected when setting up my taxi license. So that's stored in sort of a JSON format. This could be a single field or the works of Shakespeare. It really doesn't matter to us. What we're interested in is boiling down to this seal. So all of this data produces a seal. The seal is then stored on the evident proof private and public blockchains. And as part of the return on the API call and on this user interface, we give you a receipt. You have a receipt ID. This is your reference back to your stored data. You can store this against the source record, or you can leave it on the evidence system for later correlation. So now we need to request a proof certificate. So we're a year down the line. Someone's saying that we didn't perform our checks and balances in producing this taxi license for whatever reason, and we need to prove, okay, well, we stored this data immutably and it was backed by the evidence system and indeed the Ethereum blockchain. So we request proof certificate. We tally the seals versus the seals on mainnet and on our private chains on Ethereum, and we produce this certificate. Tokenization is a core part of how the seal storage and certification workflow takes place for a number of important reasons. And anyone who's interested in the tokenization of the platform, please feel free to reach out to me. These demos are too short simply to dive into it. So we're going to go look at our certificate. So what is a certificate? Well, it's all of the data that we stored. And within the body of the certificate is the receipt, the certificate request. And we hold a wide variety of data on the seal storage to prove the immutability. But in this case, we are presenting through a transaction ID, which is sufficient to show the seal storage and match it to the evidence data, and thus prove that the record was stored immutably. So that is the evident proof demo. We've run a couple of minutes over, so please feel free to ask questions on Telegram. Thank you very much.